I'd like to present some closing remarks to you, and as I've done in our previous gatherings, it really is a summary of what I heard. I think it's really important that I listen and give back to you what I heard so that you can correct me if I didn't hear it properly. So, I'm going to warn you for people that have been in the last gatherings, this is the longest summary I've prepared. So get comfortable. All right. So over the last 2.5 days, we've been guided by elders, knowledge holders, ceremony, songs, drums. We have heard from survivors, youth, community members, Indigenous leaders, Indigenous law professors, and Indigenous lawyers. We were welcomed into the territory that has been cared for by the Wendat, the Anishinaabe, the Haudenosaunee, the Chippewa, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. And we are very grateful for their kindness and generosity and friendship that they showed us while here. First Nations, Inuit, Métis survivors, family and community members, and leadership came together to discuss how we can and how we must uphold Indigenous law in the search and recovery of missing children and unmarked burials. We commenced our gathering according to Indigenous laws and protocols with the lighting of the sacred fire on Monday morning. We participated in a tobacco burning ceremony, and prayers were given for the children and for all of us so that we could bring our minds together as one. This is Indigenous law. Later in the day, we also lit the kulik so that we could create a warm atmosphere. As Monica said, it felt like warm tea in here. This too is Indigenous protocol. Pursuant to our laws and protocols, the All Nations Youth Drum Group honored the survivors and the children with songs as we prepared a spirit plate for the children. We nourished our bodies and heard about the history of this territory, Toronto, or Darundo, the place where there are trees standing in the water. We learned of the Dish with One Spoon Treaty, a treaty between the Mississauga, the Anishinaabe, and the Haudenosaunee, an agreement to share and protect these lands. This is one of the Indigenous laws that governs this territory. We heard from Mohawk Chief Alan McNaughton about some of the key elements to the Haudenosaunee condolence ceremony, which Elder Tom provided more teachings on this for us this morning. It's a ceremony where we take the softest of deer skins, white in color, and wipe away the dust and the tears that have accumulated in your eyes so that you can see all of creation and the generations ahead of us. We then take the white eagle feather, the softest down of white feathers, and we brush away the dust from your ears so that you're able to hear and understand clearly the words that people may convey to you. Then we give you a drink of water to take away the dryness from your throat so that you'll be able to speak freely and to take in the nourishment of the food that is provided to you. And then finally, you are brushed from your head down to your feet and are welcomed into the territory. This is Haudenosaunee law. Chief Hill said it was imperative that we come together. He said the focus today, and the focus that should always be, is for our next 7 generations. He said there are many challenges at both levels of government, and that it is time that reports don't collect dust and that governments actually look at these reports and implement them so that we can create a better future for all of our children. President Fro had a similar message. She said, "Be strong as you continue to tell your truth. Be strong as you continue to fight for justice. Justice for all our children today and for all those generations to come. She also reminded us of the injustice that the Métis survivors continue to face in their fight for recognition and reparations. Minister Lametti joined us for part of the dinner on Monday night. He told us that in the past, when survivors spoke of missing children and unmarked burials, Canada heard, but they didn't listen. Canada heard, but they didn't act. He said those truths can no longer be ignored. Voices can no longer be silenced. We also heard from the Deputy Mayor of Toronto. She told us that the City of Toronto is listening. The city has a 10-year reconciliation action plan. Part of that action plan is to support the survivors in creating the Spirit Garden in Nathan Phillips Square and in renaming a bridge in the City of Toronto after Joey Kamanda, one of the children that died when he was running away from the Mohawk Institute. We had the opportunity to honor the youth that have been participating at our gatherings. We recognize that youth must be part of this sacred work and any reconciliation processes. We were gifted with a performance of Bring the Children Home, and we ended our evening with the Six Nations women singers. They showed us how our songs are our laws. We heard a social song, a stomp song, and a Seneca war song. Just as we started the day with fire, we ended with fire. Jacques shared with us that the Seneca war song is about fire, the fire that is within all of us and how it moves us. Yesterday, following the opening prayer and song, we heard from survivors. Doug George Ganadillo told us how close we were to becoming a vanishing people. He shared with us the history of the Skull and Bones Society that took our ancestors to museums. Grave robbers, he called them. He spoke of how the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act has failed in many respects. He said that the word repatriate is a dirty word for a museum, and that some museums operate with a once you have Indigenous bones, you fight like hell to keep them. Doug said he wants to see the creation of new laws and processes here in Canada, led by Indigenous peoples, and he wants any new laws to have power and teeth. Peter Ernick shared a song with us. Then he told us how he lived in an igloo with his family until he was kidnapped in broad daylight by the church. He said that the church in Canada have failed. He said Inuit are grieving too. The Inuit support First Nations and Métis in finding the unmarked graves and missing children. He said, we grieve with you. We are sad with you. And we are with you all the way. He also told us about the young girl who never came home on the plane from the residential school. The family waited, and she was never returned home. The nuns never told them what happened. The girl died, and the family does not know where she is buried. He said, Canada and the church must be held accountable for what happened. Louis Gardner told us of the history of Isle La Crosse, a community that is 247 years old in northern Saskatchewan. The first mission school opened in 1860. It was not recognized under the Indian Residential School Settlement Agreement. The survivors, as we heard, are still fighting for recognition. He said, the trauma was the same. We suffered the same. And he said that no survivor should be left behind. He also told us that people just wanted to go back to the land when they got out of Isle La Crosse Residential School so that they could heal. Louis wants to find a better way to educate the children and youth about the history. And he reminded us that we are all family. And he asked for all of us to support the survivors of Isle La Crosse as they seek their justice. I, as a special interlocutor for missing children and unmarked burials, say today and every day that I stand with and for the survivors of Isle La Crosse. We were then honored to hear from Elder and Knowledge Keeper Tom Porter. Tom started off by reminding us that laughter is good medicine and had us smiling at his 3 Indian couples in the restaurant story. I personally may never ask someone to pass the sugar again for fear that I'm being watched and copied, or should I say monkey seed or monkey do. After making us smile, Tom then spoke of when he attended a large meeting of traditional leaders in 1967-68 in Oklahoma. And he spoke of his time with a Hopi leader while he was there. The Hopi man shed tears. Tom said, "Wagetsununi, I am happy because all the different nations have come together." The Hopi leader asked the young people, "Are we going to survive tomorrow? Will you make good decisions for tomorrow and for our people?" Tom, just as Doug George had done, also reminded us of how close we had come to extinction, how close the canoe came to the edge of Niagara Falls. The lessons we heard from Tom included, don't let your fires go out. Don't lose your languages. Don't let the ceremonies die. And make good decisions. Tom ended by sharing with us his teaching that some deaths, like when accidents and murders happen, the spirit can get stuck where the tragedy of the death occurred. The spirit needs to be released so it can go home. That may be the case with the children in unmarked burials. He said it is important to find them and that each nation consult with the oldest elder in the community on how to release these spirits according to their own laws and their own protocols. Throughout the gathering, we heard from many participants. One person said, "We need to talk about our place and why we were put on Turtle Island. Learn our own prophecies, know our ways of being, love one another, teach what happened, and put the Indian in the child so they can have identity, histories, and medicines." Another person said that tears are medicine and that we need to teach our children to cry again so that the beautiful tears come down. Others expressed frustration and disappointment with Canada and the churches. One person said, "Canada talks and talks. There is no depth and no heart." They also said that the churches need to come forward and admit where the children are buried, so that our older family members can leave this world in peace with knowing where their loved one is resting. One person questioned, what is the sacred law? What law are we going to live up to? He said that the children are buried on the same land, one earth. What is the sacred law of digging up those bodies and moving them? Yesterday, we also heard from several panelists. Sarah told us that Indigenous law exists in oral traditions and relationships, that the role of Canadian law has been oppressive and controlling. But the law's role in Anishinaabe society is about knowledge and caring. The Creator gave us laws. We have laws and teachings about funerals. They include the importance of body integrity, preparing the bundles, and preparing the foods for the feasts. She said Indigenous law is meant to be our helpers. Michelle highlighted the inequalities of the colonial legal system and how it has left Métis survivors behind. She said that apologies are not enough and that action needs to happen. The governments of Saskatchewan and Canada must acknowledge, recognize, and compensate the survivors of Isle La Crosse. Pakak shared with us what the traditional Inuit burial included. He said that Inuit were buried with their personal effects, such as hunting equipment, needles, and thimbles, so that they could use them in their next life. He spoke of how the body is first wrapped in sealskin to keep the spirit in until they are ready to move on. He told us how the cemeteries in Iqaluit didn't follow traditional knowledge and had been placed in a bog. He wants to see a traditional cemetery there. He said, they are more peaceful. He also spoke of how important it is to him to create a cairn outside Turcotte Hall in Churchill to commemorate those that died. At our breakout sessions, we discussed the importance of medicines. They are our laws, our natural laws. If we take care of the land will take care of us. We heard how commemoration and healing can happen through storytelling, the power of words, images, and songs. We heard that more action needs to happen to support youth and communities in expressing themselves through the arts. Anishinaabe scholar John Burroughs said that the law should not be done to us. Law is passed down and comes from our day-to-day experiences as we interact in the world around us. He said that we need to be the architects of the law, not the objects of the law. John, like many others, spoke of the 7 sacred teachings of respect, love, truth, honesty, wisdom, courage, and humility, and said that our law is written in the earth. He spoke of fire. He too spoke of fire. He said, we learn from the fires where we counsel together. Many people spoke about the natural law. It provides us with answers, and we need to reconnect with the teachings that they provide. We heard that we all came through the water. We need to teach about the water. It's our natural medicine. Water, land, rocks, our pipes, ceremonies are all our laws. The 4-legged beings, the bear, the mountain goat, the buffalo, and the moose. They are our knowledge keepers. They teach us about roles and responsibilities. We examined how our ancestors developed laws before the settlers came here and disrupted our processes and disconnected us. How clan leaders were the lawmakers. We heard several times that our laws are in our language. Words and knowing their meaning are important to understanding our laws. Indigenous laws don't come from institutions. Today we heard from youth. Oh, I got ice in my mouth. Today we heard from the youth. Navia showed us the power of the spoken word and how youth are advocating for and on behalf of the missing children and survivors. Scott told of the many different elements of his people's inherent rights and laws, which are sacred and handed down from the Creator. The paints, the songs, the ceremonies, the sweat lodges, the night smoke, and the circle tent all make up the substance of their laws. He told us that we belong to our territories and that the settlers cannot own the land because they don't know these songs and ceremonies. They don't carry the paints or the teachings. He also spoke about his people's protocols and sacred ceremonies that occur after a body expires. He said that his heart aches because the missing children in unmarked burials have not received these ceremonies to send them off in a sacred way. He also spoke of the forever promise. of the treaties. And by his sacred laws, treaties are an unbreakable commitment. Carmelo provided her perspective as an Inuk Ojibwe youth. She said that love and compassion were instilled in her by her mother. She reminded us to not forget about the survivors and the children from isolated Inuk communities. She said that Inuit have the IQ teachings, which are similar to the sacred teachings, the 7 sacred teachings. And she said that the IQ teachings helped her grow into the human being she is today. IQ tells us to respect and care for the lands and the environment. She said that she loves her culture and learning from the elders. Stephanie shared her family's history and the resulting trauma from her grandmother being taken to Chesterfield Inlet Residential School. She said she did not comprehend the extent of the trauma that was inflicted in these institutions until she was in high school, and she had her first ever Indigenous teacher. She said youth need to learn the history so that they can put all the pieces of the puzzle together. She told us that love for community could never be stripped away from us. And she too said that the IQ principles have brought her guidance and healing. We were enriched from hearing from the elders today. Elder Keith told us of the teachings of the 7 stars: resilience, perseverance, respect, humility, honesty, truth, wisdom, and courage. He showed us photos of the places where his people's teachings are, the writings on the stones, which show their connection to the earth and to their identities. He also shared the teachings of balance and equality based on the creation of the pipe, balance between forgiveness and revenge, cooperation and competition, sharing and selflessness, objectivity and subjectivity. He told us to be careful what we say and to always follow through on what we say we will do. Elder Pauline told us of the teachings that come from the 13 moons, from our creation stories and the water. She said we have to act together, be strong, be kind, be respectful. And she shared with us her beautiful song from her grandfather. Elder Frank told us of some horrible truths about the Indian residential school that his grandmother attended. He said there are 2 laws, man-made law and the law of the land. He said colonizers came with their own laws, but the Creator's law is supreme. He said, this is our land, our sovereignty. The sovereignty of the settlers is over the lands across the big waters and not here. We also heard how communities are challenging the colonial legal system. The Ganastasra showed us how the great law of peace was applied by a colonial court. We also learned of the Turo Wampum, another law that settlers agreed to, yet, as we heard, they aren't following. We were urged to remember our responsibilities to our mother, the earth, and to our children. Emilian and Jordan told us of their long battle with the legal system to have Isla Cross Boarding School recognized, and how the system, including their own lawyers, did nothing to further their fight. They said that the survivors have now taken a new path. They fired their previous lawyer and found a new way to move forward. They want Canada and Saskatchewan to finally come to the table so that matters can be resolved and the community can start to heal. It was a full 2 days, 2.5 days. We cried, we laughed, we shared, and we were kind to one another, as we should be. Moving forward, our next national gathering will be held in Montreal from September 6th through 8th. But before we head to Montreal, we will be releasing our interim report in June in Saskatchewan. We are working on putting together a regional gathering in place at this time. Information about both these gatherings will be posted on our website in the very near future. I want to encourage everyone here today to consider responding to our open call for written submissions. The call is posted on our website. Written submissions may address any matter that relates to locating, identifying, protecting, commemorating, and repatriating missing children and unmarked burials. As we come to a close, I want to once again recognize the spirits of the children that have been with us throughout the gathering. I hope that we treated them with honor and the respect they deserve. Any medicines and offerings that were placed on the chair were taken to the sacred fire. The chair and the sacred items will be brought to our next gathering. All the items that have been gifted will be kept and cared for and will be gifted in ceremony at the end of the 2-year mandate, as directed by survivors and elders. Before we part ways today, my friend Laver. Before we part ways today, I want to express my gratitude and say nawe to all the speakers, all the presenters, and participants that shared in our conversations over the last few days. I want to thank Adam Fiddler and Kathleen Lickers for guiding us through the agenda and for being so kind and generous to all of us. Nawe, Miigwech. I want to say thank you to all the helpers and the support we received from Toronto Council Fire, the Ontario Federation of Indigenous Friendship Centres, Aboriginal Legal Services, Anishinaabe Health, the City of Toronto, the Law Society of Ontario, Toronto Maple Leafs, and Rogers. I want to also acknowledge the amazing staff from the Office of the Special Interlocutor. They're a small but mighty team and work tirelessly to organize these national gatherings. And I thank you, and I want to say thank you to the many, many volunteers that gave their heart and hands to us this week. Can you please applaud the staff and volunteers? I also want to say thank you to those that provided spiritual guidance leading up to and during this gathering, especially Leroy, Jock Hill, Peter Schuler, and Wendy Hill, and Andrew Thomas. You guided us with such patience and kindness and made sure we stayed on the right path. I also recognize the ongoing guidance that elders and survivors provide to me as I try and do my best to meet this mandate. I want to say a special thank you to William Osborne, George Pashano, Donna DeBassig, Darryl Boisonneau, Jerry Pelche, and Doug Come Again. They are always checking in on me and offering medicine, guidance, and support. I can't tell you how much that means to me, and I say nawe for that. Finally, I want to say thank you to the survivors. Thank you for speaking your truths. Thank you for sharing your knowledge. And thank you for guiding us, all of us, as we continue on this path to recover the children. I say have safe travels to your home communities and territories. Be sure to call your spirits home with you. And when you return home, as Tom Porter said, keep putting more wood on your nation's fires so that they stay lit. I say thank you, merci cho, nakulmek, miigwech, hayai, and nawigoa. Thank you.
I have one more responsibility before we close, and we invite our spiritual leader, Tom, to offer our close. As Kim finishes her remarks, and she says, Nyawe Goa to all of us, I want to take a moment to say Nyawe Goa to Kim. On behalf of all of this assembly, the Creator holds you, keep you strong on your journey as you carry forward in miles across this country. But we're all with you. and we'll carry you in our hearts. Join me in saying thank you to Kim. Now, my friend, spiritual leader Tom Porter is going to close our gathering.
This is pretty soon where I'm going to be going home. And I know this has been heavy. And when I was coming here from my home, I could see a big wall, like a big ocean, the tide coming up of tears. But I know that everybody could handle it because we're Indians, right? We're real people. But I want to share with you, before we do the official closing, a prayer, the short one. Because most of the Iroquois, they like to, when they pray, long one. But we have short ones too. And I want to let you, if you want to take it home with you, you can. And share with your kids, and grandkids, and great-grandkids. That's the one where my grandmother said one time when I was young, she said, the light that comes from the window where you sleep is the fingers and the hands and the arms of the Creator, because that light makes the corn grow, makes the trees grow, makes our babies become men and women. It makes our nation be. That's why the light is the finger and the hand and the arms. And as we are son of the dawn come every day, that light, which is those, goes around our sleeping bodies and caress us every day. Never forget you or me or our kids, even our animals, even the trees. The Creator hug all of us, even every blade of grass. And that's how great the Creator is. Remember, the light of the sun is the finger, the hand, and the arms. And He did hug us this morning, every one of us. And so Grandma said, what are you going to do about it? She asked me when I was a kid. And she says, in my language, she says, that means that you acknowledge the Creator. I know what she was talking about, even if I was a kid, because I followed her around. I was her tail. And I said, no, I'm just a kid. She says, you're big enough now, you should learn how to do that. And here's what she said. As soon as you open the lid of your eyes and you see the light come in that window from the sky, and I told you what it means, that light, you say this, Nyawe, Takiadison, Newat Kunawaladon. That's all you got to say. That's short. Now put your pants on and get ready and do everything you got to do today. Let me translate it. Yahweh means thank you. Takiadison means you're the one who made me. I send you my greetings and my hello and my kindness and my love. That's what you told our Father, the Creator. Now you can put your pants on. And I will tell you, all my grandkids, my kids, I have 6 of them, they say that every day, many times every day. And I've said it for almost 70-something years, since I was a kid, what Grandma told me. And I want to give that to you, what Grandma said. So you can tell your kids, it's so short, it's so easy. And if you can't talk Mohawk, just say thank you. You who made me, I send you my greetings and my love. That's good enough. And then before now we get serious about closing formally, I got one story that's make you laugh a little bit, because we all have to laugh. And excuse me if it's not appropriate, but I think everybody's over 21. No? Well, anyway, I'm going to tell you, I don't care. If you can go through the survival school, you can go through this too. You know, the Mohawk or Iroquois people are somewhat noted to be a little bit crazy. I mean, in a good way, because they're iron workers. They work on those big, tall skyscraper buildings in Chicago and New York City and everywhere. And so there was these 3 iron workers. They're old now. They retired from ironworking, building bridges and skyscrapers. And so they're on old age retirement pension some years. So they went to Onondaga next to Syracuse, New York, just not too far from here. And they have a diner over there called Firekeeper's Diner. I go there quite a bit, and you could see sometime Lakota over there, sometime Navajo over there, and always you'll see a Seneca or Onondaga or Cayuga over there, Mohawk. So there's one day, this Seneca from Tonawanda went over there. He's an iron worker, and a Mohawk from Akwesasne, where I come from, and also an Onondaga. They all met there, and they were so happy to see each other because they hadn't seen each other in quite a while because they're retired from iron. So all of a sudden, as they were drinking coffee at that diner, all of a sudden, that Tonawanda Seneca man, his collar right here, started to go, zit, zit. And then he go, hello? I can't talk to you right now. I'm with my friends, my brothers from the Mohawk and Onondaga. I'll call you back later, bye. And that Mohawk, look at that Seneca. He's got a telephone in the collar of his shirt. I've never seen it before. Onondaga's got big eyes looking at him too. And then as they continue to sip their coffee, all of a sudden, Onondaga guy, right here on his shirt, goes, zit, zit, zit. Hello? I can't talk to you. I'm with my Seneca brother and my Mohawk brother. I'll call you back later. Bye. He put his arm down and sip his coffee. And the Mohawk from Akwesasne kind of felt really bad because he didn't have no fancy communication device like that fancy Seneca from Tonawanda or that fancy Onondaga from Onondaga. He was embarrassed. And he says, my stomach don't feel good. He says, I don't feel good. I'm sick. He says, so the Seneca Onondaga man says, well, Mohawk brother, why don't you go over across the room? There's a restroom there, and go relieve yourself, and maybe you'll feel better. So the Mohawk took off because he was so embarrassed because he didn't have no fancy equipment like a telephone communication. So the Mohawk went in that restroom, and he was glad to get out of their company, and he didn't come out. He stayed in there. And that Seneca man said, I wonder what happened, Mohawk brother. Did he die in there? And Seneca brother said, well, maybe I better go check. Maybe he died sitting on that commode or whatever. And just as the Seneca man got up to go check on Mohawk brother in the restroom, all of a sudden the restroom door opened up. And the Mohawk ironworker come out. And you know what? He had a long toilet paper, about 6-foot tail, hooked to his waistband, following him. The Seneca man and the Onondaga man look at that Mohawk from Akwesasne, and they start to laugh, and they make fun of him. And they couldn't wait for the Mohawk to get to the table. They really going to tease him because of that toilet paper stuck on his pants from the bathroom. And when they got there, he says, Mohawk brother, did you see that toilet paper, you following you? And the Mohawk says, oh, don't worry about that. He says, that's a fax coming in. Do you get it? And that's a true story. So if you get any facts, let me know. Anyways, that's what I wanted to hear you laugh. Because you need to laugh. Those kids wants to hear you laugh. Those kids wants to hear your joy and happiness. Creator wants to hear you and see you with happiness. I want to see you in happiness. So even though that's tragic, like I said yesterday, even that's important, but even more important is your nephews and nieces, your sons and your daughters, and your grandson and granddaughters, so we can go on tomorrow. And the fire will be as bright as can be. That's our job. With that, negadiona tagadisa salahonsi yoste. Negadiwa angenya hase ne ake wona ke ko gyoko ko. Ne no ska hodon ke jingot knisa une. Gadiwi tagadisa negadiwi wa he do sa te tayana sa ni guna. Ne gadi hontola din halaga jini hadi wenoda. O nene aska kwe kanska chi yogwa ni ko hlayanta. Neni jini sa ni ko hlota. First, I talk my own language, because that's what my grandmother told me to do in the spiritual matters. So I asked the Creator not to be shocked when I talk His words in English. And the reason I do it, so that everybody can understand what the Creator thinks about. That's His teaching. And so, to our Creator, who made a miracle for us. And in the planning of this gathering was probably months in the making. Many call, many work for many people to create this miracle with the help of our Creator and our Mother Earth. And so as I can see, as far as I can see, looks like 10,000 people. That's what I see, even though they told me it's only 550. But to me, it's 5,000. Because that's what you stand for, that much power. And so we will come of one mind because of that miracle that the Creator gave us, the good privilege, the good opportunity. And I say, like all the Mohawk old one, we pile up in the front of us. Great big thank you, great big greetings, great big kindness and love, and horadusla, they call it. And you and I will pick it up and we'll throw it into the universe. And we say, Creator, our Father and our Maker, thank you. You let us come together. Thank you. You let us talk about the things that we need to talk about. Creator, with love we say thank you. And our mind is agreed. And then our Mother Earth is the one who's the strongest woman in the universe that we know, and she's you and I's mother. And she never forgot us since the beginning of humankind. Every day she gave us food. Every food we put in our mouth morning until the sun goes down, and in between snack, it came from her body. She never abandoned us, no matter what happened. She never threw us away. And that's the kind of mother the Creator gave us, the best. And so with one mind, we the children, we put it right here. Many thank yous, many greetings, and a lot of love, kindness. And you and I pick it up and we give it to our Mother, the earth. And we say, Mother Earth, thank you that you still feed us. Thank you that you still lift our feet up as we walk upon your body. Thank you, you're our mother, the earth. And our mind is agreed now. To the waters and all the world that quenches our thirst, that fixes our medicine when we're sick, to the waters where our children swim and where our people hunt and fish and whatever. The water's still moving through the mountains and through the rivers because they're living. And when they pass where we live, we fetch the water and it quenches our thirst since the beginning of time. So the spirit of the water is still with us. They never abandon us yet either. And so, big pile of thank you, big greetings and big love. And you pick it up, we throw it north, south, east, and west. So every river, every lake and creek, every well that we have will receive our thank you and our feelings of gratitude today, and our mind is agreed. Toll. And then to all the vegetation that grows, the corn, beans, and squash, as to consider it, those three sisters are the leaders of everything in a garden. And their cousin, things that grow. And then there's the one that grows wildly in the woods and the swamps and by the river's edge. Well, leeks and onion, all kind of food, potato too. It created planet. To all of those foods, berries and medicine, that's still there waiting for us every day to ask them to help us, and they do. To them, we say thank you with love, and our mind is agreed. And the people, they sit tall. To the animals, and of all the animals, our elders told us that the deer was chosen by the Creator where we live, yung Wanushuni, that the deer will be the chief of all the animals, big and small. Maybe out west, the Creator told them, our brother over there, buffalo will be the leader there. But he told us it's the deer where we live. And so to all those animals, little ones, big ones, medium size, they're still doing their job. And so to those animal world, we send our thank you, our greetings, and our love to them because they still follow our Creator's law. Animal world, we say thank you, big one, and our mind is agreed. And then like I told you before, the birds sings really nice songs every morning. The Creator told them, soon as the dawn comes, you birds face the east and start singing to shake up our mind for the animals and the birds and people. When we hear them singing to welcome the sunlight, they shake up our minds so boredom and lonesomeness won't find a home in our body. Yeah, and then they want us to laugh, to rejoice about the life. And so to the birds that fly zoom by our heads as we walk, we send it our thank you and our greetings and our kindness, and our mind is agreed, and the people sit tall. To the four winds that bring the changing of the seasons, so that everything can rest and everything can be born again. To bring a big hurricane and tornado come and take all the impurities away. They're still doing their job, the four winds, and we send to them our thank you and our greetings and our love. And our mind is agreed. And again, the people say, Toll. To the thunder, who brings the lightning that burns all the impurities of the atmosphere. To the thunder who brings fresh water to renew our creeks and rivers and lakes, so water is always fresh for us. To the thunder grandfathers who water our strawberry garden, our raspberry garden, so there will be lots of food for us, medicine. To those grandfathers, we who are the grandchildren say thank you again today, and our mind is agreed. To the sun, our brother, that shines the light so that everything will be born and grow. And remember what Grandma said? The sunlight is the finger and the hands and the arm. And he did hug us this morning. And now we live. And so to our old brother's son, we say thank you. You help us live again today. And our mind is agreed. And the people say it, Toho. To our grandmother moon, who come full circle every 28 to 30 days for all our women, so that they can open the door for the birth of our little baby girls and boys. Our nation will be born through our woman, because the grandmother moon regulates all of you. And to all the women and grandmother moon, we say thank you for the birth you give. And we say big thank you, and we give you greetings today, and our mind is agreed. And they say to. To the stars that beautify the night sky, and also our elders, the ones, some of them are left yet, they look at the stars and they can tell you if this summer's going to be dry or wet by the stars. Or in a late summer, they can see the stars and tell you if the snow is going to be 6 foot, 10 foot tall, or not much. There's a few of them left that can do that where we live. And so to the beauty of the stars, when our men who might travel at night and not get home, so they won't get lost, they can look at the stars, and it guides them how to get home in the darkness of night. And so to the stars, we send our thank you, our greetings, and our kindness, and our mind is a greet, and the people says, to. And then there are 4 sacred beings. We call them Gait Nyungwetage Ladiluhyage Hrono. They were commissioned by the Creator to help him to tell how the geese should fly to the south when it gets winter, and when the geese should fly back to the north when it gets summer. Those 4 beings guide them. And when you and I and our nations get lost from not remembering the teachings, the Creator sends one of those 4 sacred beings to be born as a baby here, to become the teachers, to put us back on the spiritual path so that we will have a good life. And that has happened several times in the Haudenosaunee history, as I know it has for you. And that's how come we still have a longhouse. That's why we still have a law. That's why we still have our clans, our drums, and everything that we believe in. And so to those 4 sacred beings that brought us all our teachings, we send our thank you, our greetings, and our love, and our mind is agreed, and the people said to. And then now we come to our Creator. And remember what I said the other time? The Creator is all the universe's life combined. The sum of that is what we call Creator. So everything that lives is the Creator. So we must respect life. And our Creator let us come here. And so we ask now the Creator and His 4 sacred beings, so that when our mind, my elder says, when the meeting is done, we untie the sacred rope or strings that put our minds together as one for this many days. And we have fulfilled the conference and the number of days we said we will come together. Now it's done. So we untie the string or the rope that held us together, so that now frees you and me, that we can go home whenever we want to go home, back to our house and to our families. And we ask the Creator and the sacred beings that there be no stones or nothing to obstruct our journey, or if you're flying, nothing to, don't nobody shoot us down, because that's what they've been doing lately. That we get home okay, and that you will have the strength to help your kids and your families be strong and have our nation be strong again. And this, I consider this conference a big miracle. And I consider every one of the survivors a big miracle. No matter how much tragedy, you're just like a diamond, precious and can't be broken. And with that, we say, Creator, thank you for this miraculous meeting we had. And so now, with that, we conclude this conference. And a big thank you to those who kept the fire going for us and for all of you that put tobacco in that fire to keep it energized for the fire and us. And so with that, we have concluded. And all the workers that organized, thank you. The cooks that fed us, thank you. The people in this big building that made our beds and kept it clean, our room, gee, thank you there too. And that concludes our stay here until we meet again. Thank you.
Thunderjack is going to gift us with a travel song.
Hey, hi, oh, hey, hi, oh,